Hello and welcome to Weekly MTG. I'm your host, Blake Rasmussen. It's just me today. It's just me because we're going to be opening some Hobbit product. Now, normally we do this show the Tuesday before pre-release, but we were off that week. Wizards of the Coast offices were closed. And last week we, of course, had the BNR announcement stream. And so, you know what? You've probably already gotten a lot of Hobbit product, but in case you're on the fence, in case you haven't yet, in case I just want to sit here and open product, which I do, we're just going to hang out. We're going to open some collector boosters, some play boosters, chat about the set, chat about what you can open, and just have a good time. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to go to the overhead camera. We're, of course, as usual, going to start with collector boosters, but you can see we got some stuff here that we can open, and we're just going to have a good time. Sushi is a burrito. I'll get on board with that. Pop-Tarts being ravioli, I can also get on board with. All right. So, we're going to start here. And of course, one of the coolest things about this set are the box toppers. So we're going to open up that first. See what we get in here. And, okay, all right, yep, let's do, there's the zoom. So we did all right here. Of course, this is the One Ring. It's about as good as the box topper gets. It is gorgeous. Of course, that art, by Martin Nail and Dan Frazier. Yeah, not a bad way to start. All right, let's keep going. We're gonna put that right up there. Not a bad way to start. All right, so we are gonna do as we normally do. We'll go through the slots. If I can get this open. We'll go through the slots bit by bit to talk about what exactly is in a collector booster, how many of each slot, how many of each type, all that sort of jazz, and we'll go a little faster as we go along. So we're going to start off with 5 traditional foil common cards. So we've got some Mirkwood Nurturer, Moment of Glory, Reverend Howl, Lakeshore Apothecary, one of my favorite cards in the set. Now, something interesting about the foil common cards that is not always true in collector boosters is that there are 2 scene cards to be found in this set. So Thorin's Last Stand is one of them. So in the first 5 traditional foil common cards, you can get common scene cards. So this is one of them. There are only 2 of them. Thorin's Last Stand, I don't remember the other one off the top of my head. All right, and then we get to the uncommons. There are 4 foil uncommon cards. Most of them are going to be this traditional foil. You can also get scene cards. There are 4 foil scene cards. There are also 6 traditional foil Dragon Horde cards that can be found in this slot. And in 1 in 10 collector boosters, a Surge foil Dragon Horde card appears in this slot. So we may see those, we may not. Let's see. We've got Thranduil's Decree, Galleon, Eagle's Rescue, and here we go. So we did hit, oh, and this is, all right. We're doing well today. So this is, we're gonna go zoom here. So this is a Surge foil Dragon Horde card. So again, there we go. I'll get that eventually. And for the uncommon slot, there's only 6 of these, and then only 1 in 10 collector boosters will hold. Now, we are going to open more than 10 collector boosters, so, but we're doing pretty well so far. Reliable Guardian. I love Reliable Guardian in the draft. It's a great card. Okay. Now, we're going to go on to the basic land. So we hit the basic land. It's going to be the full art traditional foil Journey basic land. Now, then we're going to hit 2 traditional foil rare or mythic rare cards. So these are going to be just main set cards that are foil, no fancy treatment other than the foiling. We got Head of the Hunt and Unexpected Party. From there, we're going to get 2 non-foil booster fun cards, but these can come from basically any, because these are booster fun cards, these can come from basically any treatment. So here we've got Extended, Affiliate of the Pathfinder. Jesus. Okay. And you can also open non-foil box toppers here, as you see with our second The One Ring. Okay. All right. Okay, that's gonna go over here. So you can get those. That's gonna, you know what? That's gonna go over here. We're gonna keep our 1 ring count. And then we've got the final slot, which is the foil booster fun card. This can be any kind of booster fun treatment. It's going to be foil. I always call it the foil fancy slot. Here we got Belladonna Took, and then there's that token. We got Human Soldier Dwarf. Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep going. That was quite the start. All right, we're gonna go with the foil commons: Bilbo Baggins, Gollum, Mirkwood Nurture, Butterflies, Revenant Howl. Then we go to the uncommons: Bilbo Luckweaver, Eagle the Great Shelf, Woodland Weedmaster, Sylvan Reveler. This is one of my favorite cards in draft. I love that card. All right, we get a mountain for that, and then we go into the rares: Thranduil's Company and the Great Goblin. Then we're going to move into we'll call it the non-foil fancy slots. So we get Dragon Cursed Halls. So this is one of the scene cards in non-foil. And then we go into Elrond Moon Reader as an extended card. And then finally we get an extended foil Great Gilded Boat. Card's pretty busted in draft. All right. Let's keep going. We did not get a 1 ring in every pack. That would be some kind of anomaly. All right. All right. Stirrup Trouble, Iron Hill Stalwart. Oh man. Confusticate and Bebother. It's a great card name. Lake Town. We got Beaufort, an uncommon. Gathering of Darkness. Gnashing of Teeth. And, okay, so here you'll see, again, an uncommon Dragon Horde card. Note, this one is not in the Surge foil. All right, and then we get Plains for the basic land. We got an Elven Passage for one of the regular foils through the Forest Gate for our second one. And then we get into the non-foil fancy, Extended Radagast. And, ooh, here we go. So the book covers are also going to be found in this slot. We'll do a zoom in on this one. I think this might have been the first one we revealed with the book, or no, the Arkansas. Anyway, so Thorin Mountain King, this is one of the first ones we revealed. Yeah, really cool treatment with the book covers. Gorgeous. This one's non-foil. All right, and then we will go finally to Settle the Wreckage in Extended. All right. Very cool. Let's keep going. I've drafted this, I was on vacation last week, so I have not drafted as much as I normally do, but I've drafted this at maybe half a dozen times, and I've probably drafted 4 Settle the Wreckage. All right, commons, uncommons, Ravenhill Flock, another great one, Bard the Bowman, Black Arrow, and then this one's cool. So, Dragon Horde Frame, Bilbo Luckweaver, not Surge Foil, but still fancy Bilbo. All right, then we get an Island, Getaway Barrel. We are not announcing UB for 2027 today. Nope, we're just hanging out and opening packs. Thranduil, the Elven King. Then we move into the Eagles Are Coming. So again, this is the scene version. This is the non-foil fancy slot, of which there are 2 cards. Eagles Are Coming. Pretty big bomb in limited, followed by Bilbo's Burglary. So this is a scene card, but it's from one of the non-main set scenes. Take an artifact, I take an artifact. And then we get to Tom, Burt, and William as the foil fancy extended slot. Really interesting card. All right, and then we get an art card there. So you're going to get a mix of tokens, art cards. Some of the art cards will have signatures on them. This one does not. We'll keep going. How often do Modern Mastering sets come out? Are there any coming in the future? So they used to come out every couple years. We have kind of taken a break from them for the time being. So we don't have anything that we've announced. Lakeshore Apothecary, Moment of Glory, Enchanted River's Grass, Well-Worn Special, Goblin Them. Will this be restocked on Amazon? If by this you mean the Hobbit set as a whole, possibly, probably. Play boosters certainly get restocked. If you're talking specifically about collector boosters, so collector boosters we print a finite amount. Play boosters will keep printing as long as they are legal and standard and people keep ordering them. Okay, Riddles in the Dark for normal foil. Gollum Riddle Master. Really cool design. Then we get Dane Ironfoot. Has killed me several times in draft. Ooh, love this one. Reprieve. So this is, again, one of the box toppers. And yeah, it's really cool. I'm gonna put any one of the box toppers. Ooh, and here, so now this is cool as well because you can occasionally get a Surge foil Middle-earth Classic Artist card in the foil slot. So here we got Relic of Sauron. So this is also one of the box toppers, but you can get it here. That is a pretty looking Relic of Sauron. I'll put that over there too. Yeah, card looks great. Actually, you know, we'll do the zoom. We'll zoom because it's that good looking. One of these days I'll get it. And we can move it to get some of the shine. Maybe let's pick it up a little bit and do. Yeah. Really cool card. Really cool treatment. Absolutely gorgeous. When should we expect the next organized play announcements, such as future RCQ seasons? Any changes happening to them with the new store classification formats? I don't have anything to announce on that today. But as soon as we do, we'll share it. Magnificent End, Ragged Short Spear, Looking Butterflies, Gollum, Silent Slinker. This card has been very good in draft, as has Bilbo Bergen's back. Burglar. All right. Great ugly looking goblin for an uncommon. Bolg of the North. Thorin's Map. And scene card, Dreaded Bat Cloud. This is one of the scene cards that you can find in the uncommon slot. Then we get the mountain. And then we get the Lonely Mountain in foil. Followed by Down in the Valley. And then we're going to move to the non-foil fancy slot. So we get a Bolg's Company in scene card version. And then Andril, Flame of the West from, again, the box toppers. And then Gandalf Goblin's Bane. Very cool. All right, let's take that one over there. And that there, treasure token. Here, we'll put this one. Let's zoom. Let's see if I can get. Aha! Nailed it. Nailed it. Let's take a look at the foiling too. My favorite thing about these is when the foiling shows the worn edges of the book. It's really cool. Amazing job by the team that makes those. All right. And we'll continue. We got 2, 3, 4, 5 commons. We'll talk more about commons when we do play boosters next, because we'll talk about draft. We've had enough time that we've all drafted, or many of us have. So we can kind of talk about the limited format. For example, speaking of the limited format, this card is real good. Thranduil, Sindarian Liege. Again, not Surge Foil. We've hit the one Surge Foil. We're probably going to hit maybe another. Who knows? But yeah, I draft this card pretty highly. And we get to Forest. Glamdring Foe Hammer. The Eagles are coming. Normal treatment. Then we get Chief Warg's Company in its scene form, followed by Bilbo, Fellow Conspirator, Scene Guard, potential Canadian Highlander card, and then, book cover Thranduil, the Elven King. We can zoom in on that one too. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm like making sound effects. I don't know why. That is gorgeous. I love these book treatments. All right. And then non-signature art card. Let's keep going. Recruit cards have been great. We've had mechanics similar to Recruit in the past, but what I really like about Recruit is, it gives you a lot of flexibility in what you're using. Are you using it for the draw 2? Are you using it for the getting the creature? Are you filling your graveyard? There's a lot. It's a simple mechanic that just does so much in the set. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we move to Key to the Side Door. Bothersome Noisemaker. Stone by Sunlight. Dane, Lord of the Iron Hills. Yeah, there are a lot of Cruel Bent Blades running around. That card is also very strong. All right, we get another Thranduil's Company. This card is very strong. I have a so the Lord of the Rings deck I made the first time around was Scry Matters with the Galadriel. Love that deck. Super fun to play. So things like Thranduil's Company will go right in that deck. It's got like a light elf theme, but not a big one. It's mostly trying to scry. Sting, Bilbo's Sword. Then we get a Wizard's Staff in the non-foil fancy slot. Ooh, and a delighted halfling from the Classic Artists Box Topper group. Stick that over here. And then, that's nice. It's not gleaming gold, but let's get a zoom in on the Smog the Magnificent in Surge Foil. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, we'll put that down there. And we also got a Stone Boulder. Smog the Magnificent in Surge Foil. All right, let's keep going. Keep moving on. All right. Just an ordinary bear, and a Great Fierce Bee, and a Vow, and a Hobbit Hole, and another Thorin's Last Stand for the scene card. Then we go down to Goblin Town. If you didn't catch it, Squin and Craig did a recent video with down to Goblin Town. Old Fat Spider. Old Fat Spider's a solid card. Old Fat Spider Can't See Me, on the other hand, great card. Troop of Ponies. Then we got Great Ugly Looking Goblin. Dragonhorn Frame. Mountain. Any chance for a Dungeon Crawler Carl's Secret Lair? You know what? Secret Lair does a lot of weird stuff, cool stuff, and partner stuff, and so never say never. Basically, with Secret Lair, if you ask any chance, the answer is probably there's some chance. There is a non-zero chance, certainly. All right, Dane Weapon Master. Gandalf Shadow's Foe. This is another one that could very well go in my Lord of the Rings deck. The landfall, because the deck ends up getting a lot of landfall because when you scry, you get to put the lands directly into play, which is great. And Orcust Goblin Cleaver. Also, just any chance for that deck to replace any non-Lord of the Rings cards with Lord of the Rings cards makes it feel good. That's from the two. Yes, I believe so. The 5 Armies product is what you're talking about. So for those who don't know, there is a product coming out in 2027 for the Hobbit called Battle of the 5 Armies, and there are a selection of cards that you can get in collector boosters that are in that product. So it's kind of like a throw forward. I think it's 9 cards. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's 9 cards. That the only place you can get them right now is the collector boosters, but once that Battle of the 5 Armies kit comes out, you'll be able to get them there as well. Reward for the 3rd riddle in Arena. That chat, you're going to have to know that one. I didn't know there were riddles in Arena today. News to me. All right, this Dwarven Matic, Thranduil, Burn, Tree and Fern, and a Forest. All right. From this we get foil rares. We get Tom Burt and William. We get the Arkenstone. This is one of my favorite cards in the set. Then we move on to non-foil fancy, and we get some long lost lances. Okay, here's one we haven't seen yet. So now we get a Dwarven language card. So this is in non-foil. And then My Precious in foil. Oops, I put the rares on the basic land. I did. Thank you. Good catch. My Precious. All right. 2 more collector boosters, then we're going to look at some play boosters. We'll talk draft, we'll talk limited. Be a good time. All right. Common. Then we get Thorin Oakenshield, Bomber, nasty little rabbit. And then another Thorin Oakenshield, but it is the scene version. I love these. I literally, oh God, what was it? 2-3 weeks ago, finally finished my Lord of the Rings scenes. I had set out to collect all of the scene cards, and it took me a while. But I got there. I collected them all in foil and non-foil. So I finally finished that the other week from the original Lord of the Rings, just in time to start the same thing with The Hobbit. Bejeweled Warg, Balin, Loremaster. Card's also great. All right, Great Gilded Boat, Stone Giant of High Pass. That's that 3/1 colorless wall token, and a foil Scene Bolg's Company. All right, last collector booster for now, and then we will move on to play boosters. We'll come back to collector boosters if we have time at the end. Tidings of War, Rage into the Valley, add a crop in there. Okay, then we get Snow Slope Hunter. There it is. Old Fat Spider Can't See Me. Card's great. Iron Hills Blacksmith in that Dragon's Horde frame. Then we move into Plains. Chief Warg's Company. Part in Friendship. I've found that this card, if it lands with any sort of semi-stable board, is basically unbeatable on draft. Then here we get Dane's Company in that scene. We get a Dragon's Horde Elven Passage. And then we end on Gigantic Big Bear. So we did pretty good in these packs. Cannot complain. All right. So now we're going to move a lot of this to the side over here. And we are going to talk play boosters. All right. Goes over there. Play boosters. So I'm going to talk mostly in the context of normal draft, but we'll also talk pick 2, just because it's a fun other way to think about it. All right, let's do the box topper. So again, even with play boosters, you get a box topper. And over there. Okay. Okay. Just if it was going to be a one ring, I was going to lose it. It's not. We have Galadriel's Dismissal. Target creature phases out. The spell's kicked. Each creature target player controls phases out instead. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we'll sync that over there with those. Okay, let's talk play boosters. It's really hard to top 2 rings right off the bat. Okay. So we're not going to focus too much on slots here. We'll note some interesting ones. We're going to focus on draft for this one in case you're heading down to your local game store to draft or heading over to Arena. I'll talk about my impressions before. I'm no expert by any means, but I have played quite a bit. And we'll talk about him. We'll talk about him in this group. All right, so we're going to start with we're just normal draft. So calling out the strongest cards in this pack. So just pure power. So obviously Down in the Valley, Chief Warg is very strong for that deck. Bjorn's Hospitality I've found to be incredibly good. The unfortunate thing is these two are great together because with Bjorn's Hospitality, you're turning everything into a 4/4. It's great. Smog's decent. Both Side Wanderers is decent but expensive. You know, beyond, like, you play Moment of Glory in the decks where you're recruiting a lot because you want to be able to discard it. So here, I would probably focus on these 3 cards. And, you know, I actually have not played Down in the Valley. So Down in the Valley really does want you to be, it would prefer you be in blue-green, I should say. Chief Warg wants you to be in black-green. Bjorn's Hospitality doesn't care. These, of course, go in the same deck. I am somewhat inclined to believe that the pick here is Bjorn's Hospitality, even though it's an uncommon. Just because it doesn't care if you have elves or not. I would probably take Down in the Valley the first time to try it out. Because like I said, I haven't played with it. But I believe the pick is probably Bjorn's Hospitality first. There's also something to be said for, like, you're looking at 3 green cards here. Bjorn's Hospitality gives you more flex. If you take Chief Warg, you're aiming for black-green. You're not getting probably any of these cards back. If you take Hospitality, you know, you're ideally probably in green-blue. You can maybe take the Mirkwood Mediator. You might get the Elven King Hall back. So I would take Hospitality. Let's keep going. All right. Next up. All right. Bilbo's Deadly Slice. Premium removal in the set. Duskwatch Hunter's a strong card. Pinecone Strike. This back's starting off strong. Ori, Keeper of Songs, strong in the Dwarf deck. Magnificent End. It's removal.pack. Old Thrush is fine. Goblin Plate Mail is pretty strong in the Goblin deck. Patient Instructors. Yeah, this is a strong pack. Gotten to... Man, oh, jeez. Well, all right. So, all right. So the pick is the Arkenstone. Whether or not you play white doesn't really matter. Being an Anthem and a draw engine, you're going to pick the Arkenstone. Now, that's our foil for this pack. So we have another rare. So let's say we didn't open the Arkenstone. Let's say it was a random foil common or something like that. After that, you still got a ton of great options. You got Bilbo's Deadly Slice, Pinecone Strike, Magnificent End, Bolg of the North, Goblin, and I wouldn't pick Goblin Plate Mail first here. Dwaylen Weapon Master. Like, these cards, this is a very strong pack. So, where would I go with this? I tend to think I probably wouldn't go Bolg of the North. It's the only gold card up here. It locks you into trying for black-red, and you're passing like 2 premium black-red cards. And then the best cards here are red, white, and then a single black. Now you could look at this and go, all right, I'm going to take Bilbo's Deadly Slice and let someone else fight over white and red. Now that said, Duskwatch Hunter, Bolg of the North, perfectly decent picks in black. Not on this level, I would say, and actually Ori's not on that level either. Ori's good. Ori's kind of second tier here, but Dwaylen is certainly worth it. Dwaylen is really strong if we're going to go Dwarves equipment specifically. I would probably take Dwaylen over Pinecone Strike, but you know what? It's kind of a toss-up. There are a number of good dwarves. Really what you want in the dwarf deck is just enough synergy, and getting a rare like this is obviously great, but not always necessary. It is, yeah, for the person, yes, it is a Dragon Border Arkenstone. That was what we picked up in this pack. So I think what I would do here is I'd look at these and I'd probably stay away and take Bilbo's Deadly Slice. You're not getting Bolg or Goblin Plate Mail back. You might get Duskwatch Hunter back. You might get Snowslope Hunter back if you end up in black-red. Snowslope is also very good, but you definitely want to play that in Goblins specifically. All right, moving on. I mean, you can play it in Dwarves. Occasionally you get enough treasure making things, and it does sacrifice treasure, so it's possible. But yeah, Arkenstone, it's pretty. Look at that. Shine. All right, put that over here. Okay, moving on. Yeah, the Arkenstone is gorgeous. And again, don't look at that card and think of Arkenstone as a white card. It's a bonus if you get to play that, but you're playing the 5-mana colorless mode 100% of the time. All right, moving through the commons. Wargling, Gollum looks like a solid card. It's actually been really strong in my experience. Goblin Plate Mail. Here's another Bjorn's Hospitality. Burn, Tree and Fern. Lake Town Toymaker. Dane Ironfoot, Eagle of the Great Shelf. Oh, and then we get, we haven't looked at one of these yet, but we get one of these cool foil lands with the book text in them. which is great. Okay. So here, all right, so we got another Bjorn's Hospitality. Burn, Tree, Fern is pretty solid. Laketown Toymaker is really good in the recruit deck in blue-white. You can also play it in dwarves. Speaking of dwarves, Dane Ironfoot, very strong, very hard to beat if you don't have removal. Golem and Wargling are probably the best commons, followed by Uneasy Partings. I've found Uneasy Partings to be fairly mediocre. I mean, you need to play it in blue, but I certainly wouldn't first pick it. Meanwhile, Goblin Silent Slinker is very strong, very hard to deal with. Wargling is, if you play the black-green Ferocious deck, the Wolves deck, you want as many Warglings as you can get. That is a premium 2-drop for that deck. I've had 4 in a deck before and would have played more. So I think here, what I would pick out of this pack is probably Dane Ironfoot. Second place going to Bjorn's Hospitality. Third to Burn, Tree, and Fern. I'd do it like this. Dane is pretty strong on its own, but also you can probably get back Nori if you're talking about getting the Dwarf Equipment deck. You're unlikely to get, let's see, would you get Goblin Plate Mail back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might get Goblin Plate Mail back. Might. It depends on what other people are drafting, what they open. The fact that it's hybrid means it goes into a lot of different decks. If I'm Goblins, I'm probably taking Goblin Plate Mail over Goblin Town Flunkies. Burn, Tree, and Fern just goes in a bunch of different decks. So yeah, I would take Dane Ironfoot and look to table Nori, Teller of Tales. If this was pick 2, changes my calculus a little bit. I would probably go. I'd probably go Dane and either Burn or Goblin Plate Mail. So the thing about Goblin Plate Mail in the Dwarves deck, so equip 4 is a pretty high cost to just give +1/+0 in Menace, but there are a number of cards in Dwarves that let you auto-equip, so you can play that off. Now, Burn, Tree, and Fern is just, it's removal. It'll kill pretty much anything in the set. So Dane and Burn would be a strong 1-2 punch there. Yeah, Burn, like you read this and you see destroy target artifact and opponent controls. In Limited, that doesn't feel super special. It ends up being way more relevant than you would think. All right, we're gonna do one more play booster, and then I'll give chat the choice. Do we want to keep doing play boosters and talking draft, or do we want to crack some more collector boosters for the time we have left? It's up to you, chat. Quarrel, Dane, down to Goblin, Old Fat Spider, Chief Works Company. Sound the trumpets. All right. Okay. All right, from this pack, I think the answer is clearly Chief Works Company. In terms of power level, it is just a step above any of these other cards. If we remove Chief Works Company, what are we looking at here? So I really like Rage into the Valley. You know, it reads sort of like, okay, draw a card, amass goblins 2. Those are, but if you think about it more as a 2/2 that comes into play and draws you a card, like those have always been a premium. Rage into the Valley, and the flexibility with amass, either being a creature or being +1/+1 counters. I think Rage into the Valley is very strong. You could go with Old Fat Spider. I don't think down to Goblin Town or Dane are better here. I do like Dane. It's an early way to turn on Storied. The sort of propaganda effect sometimes comes into play. Quarrel would be the other one. I think this pack is not as deep as it. Like, I like a lot of these cards. I always want to Reverend Howl in my black decks. Sound the Trumpets is a card I would play in most blue decks. But I think here Rage in the Valley and Quarrel are a jump above. So I here would take Rage in the Valley. I really like this card. I also think Rage into the Valley is good if you're doing one of the not typical draft strategies. So like if you draft black-blue, for example, Rage into the Valley is pretty strong there too. If you're drafting Goblins, it's obviously strong. If you're drafting the Black-Green Wolves, it's solid. You're never going to be unhappy about it. Especially since if you do have a few things with the mass, you can get them up to 4 power and have that matter. So anyway, Chief Warg's Company, followed by those, and go from there. Okay, so let's see. We got 1 vote for Collector and 1 vote for Draft. That's a tie. Okay, I think in the case of a tie, we open 1 more play booster. And then we do collector boosters. We'll keep going. All right. Dory, Wood Elves. There's that Crude Bent Blade. Laketown Lookout, Well-Worn Spatula. Plunder the Trollshaws, Tidings of War, Patient Instructor. Misty Mountain Raider, Laketown Mariners, Laketown Toymaker, Along the Crooked Way, Tidings of War. Okay, so this one's nice in that we don't have a rare that is clearly the pick. So Along the Crooked Ways, it's solid. It works with your Menace. There are a couple combos, but you're not typically returning things from your graveyard constantly. The best combo that I've seen with this, which I had in one deck, was this and the 2-mana Golem that comes into play and exiles a card from their library. They lose 2 life. It can't block. You can sacrifice a creature to return it from your graveyard to your hand. So with Along the Crooked Way, you could sacrifice a creature. It returns to your hand. You amass 1 goblin that you can then use to sacrifice and do it again. You can do some pretty cool things with sacrifices and accruing a lot of value with that golem, or just killing them. Misty Mountain Raider, as we'll call it Witzel85, is pretty strong. It's when you attack, amass goblins too. So, like, for example, if you have a goblin token, a goblin army token, you can attack and amass, make it 2 bigger on your attack. You can use it to get other creatures. It's got that sort of pseudo haste because it doesn't need to attack to do it. It can let other creatures attack. So, Misty Mountain Raiders is probably, I agree that it is probably the pick. The one thing to consider is the next strongest cards are like Along the Crooked Way, Tidings of War, Crude Bent Blade. So you are looking at possibly putting some on. Tidings of War I shouldn't say it's that strong. It is something I want multiples of in any Goblin deck, and so I'm going to look to pick it. Laketown Mariners is pretty strong as well, but there is some chance you end up fighting over black and red by taking Misty Mountain's Raider. But I think it's better enough than everything else here that I would still take it. So agree. Crude Bent Blade, you look at it in a format where you're like, oh, there's a major mechanic that makes tokens. This isn't going to be good. And it ends up being actually really strong. There's a lot you can do with it. Okay. We'll go back to collector boosters for the remaining time. We can also talk draft while we're doing it. Why not? We can do both. We can do 2 things. We can do 2 things. All right. We will start with the box topper. And ooh, that's cool. Flame of Anor. That is a good looking Flame of Anor. One of my favorite cards from the original Lord of the Rings set. All right, put that up there. Let's keep going. Go with Bent Blade just because it keeps me open to black-red and black-green, and I'd rather choose those two options than red-white as my second. Totally fair. Totally fair. I do think the Rider is better than Bent Blade, but talking about keeping your options open is certainly a consideration. All right. Commons, 3, 4, 5. Then we get Glowing the Mighty. Celebrate the Mountain King. First one of those we've seen. That card's an all-star in those decks. Dreaded Bat Cloud. And then we get Swamp. Put that over a little bit. And then foil rares. Chief Warg's Company. Rovanian Rampager. 2 Rovanian Rampagers. Followed by Cantaker's Keepers. I have a mono green elf commander deck. This obviously goes in that. And the Lonely Mountain for our foil fancy. Here we can do the zoom. Yeah. These book cover styles just make me so happy. Dreaded Bat Cloud is very much a bone picker. Absolutely. All right. Rage into the Valley. Love that card. You know what we'll do? We'll do maybe, is it 47? Maybe we'll go back to play boosters. Why not? Do a couple of these. Oh, and here's a Surge foil Thranduil. Darian Legion. I'm going to put that over there. Then we get a Bilbo Thief in the Night. This one is making some waves in older formats, rightfully so. Certainly got some potential in Canadian Highlander. That's 2 mentions of Canadian Highlander. Ooh, and we get the Dragon's Horde Head of the Hunt, followed by a foil Getaway Barrel. And a Stone Boulder. Bilbo plus Lurrus equals all the Lotuses. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, my comment on these in terms of limited, these 5, Magnificent End is probably the best. Probably the best? I say probably the best. It's great removal. Bilbo Baggins Burglar has been a pleasant surprise how good it is. Key to the Side Door, Modern All-Star. Saw this in a deck list today. Bothersome Noisemaker, Down to Goblin Town, Troop of Ponies. The Key to the Side Door was in like a blue-red graveyard thing with a bunch of legends. Desolation of Smog. I'm uncertain if I'm putting that in my dragon stack. Still figuring that out. Roads Go Ever, Ever On. Then we get a Scene Thranduil's Company. Gandalf Party Guest for whoever it was that was asking for a Jeskai Gandalf. It exists. There is one here from the Scene cards. Wants you to play Legendary Wizards. And then we get a Scene Dane's Company. Let's do this. Why are all the cards in the booster foil? So this is, for those just tuning in, this is a collector booster. So these are special boosters, the higher MSRP, that have more of the fancy stuff. So all the commons and uncommons in them. are foil. Let's see here. And then most of the other cards are also foil. There's a few that are not, but they're all going to be, the ones that are not foils are going to be rares or mythic rares. So a lot of foils. Dane's Company in the non-scene card. Bilbo's Gambit. Necklace of Jirion. Definitely going in a lot of +1/+1 counter decks. Then we get Bilbo's Ring. Mark Pool. Ooh, and then a Surge Foil The Gaffer. From the Box Toppers. Stick that over there. That goes there. All right. When is the Reality Fracture story starting? It is, I think, don't quote me on this. I believe it starts August 31st. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I might be wrong. But I believe it starts about a week ahead of the Reality Fracture debut, which is on September 8th. So yeah, if you are looking forward to Reality Fracture, we've got, like I said, I believe story starts that week of August 31st. The debut is September 8th, with previews running 2 weeks after that. And of course, we on Weekly MTG will do the after show on September 8th. I'm a bit jet lagged. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. It was in, I did the show last week, then went to the airport, got on a plane, went to Italy for a friend's 40th birthday. And we were supposed to see, there's this famous horse race in Siena. So we were supposed to see that. And then it rained. So we unfortunately did not get to see the Palio, but we had a good time. It was Italy. It was great. Speaking of great, here's the Great Goblin. Put that right there. Okay. What do we got? We got 7 minutes. We're gonna probably, we'll power through this. Why not? It's open. Let's do it. We'll see what other cool stuff we open, like Gandalf, Spark Starter, and the scene card version. Swamp, Great Gilded Boat, Lord of the Eagles. I have cast this in limited. It was great. Desolation of Smog. Bilbo, Unexpected Adventurer. Card's really cool. And Along the Crooked Way. And Extended. Are there usually no reprints inside the Foundation Commander decks? Well, there's no usually. We've only done Foundation Commander decks once. By the way, this is the Gollum I was talking. Gollum the Abandoned is the one I was talking about that has the synergy with Along the Crooked Way, where Gollum can trigger Along the Crooked Way enough to make Gollum bounce in and out of the graveyard. Tom, Bert, and William. Some Cantankerous Keepers. Bejeweled Warg. Here's Aragorn and Arwen Wed with that Heather Hudson art. So that is another classic artist version, and a Lord of the Eagles Surge foil. There we go. Gorgeous. All right, can put that over there. Classic art. So I believe, yeah, bird book cover. It's also just gorgeous art. All right. Well, we're finishing up here. Just a few things, dates to keep in mind. So next week, Weekly MTG we're just going to be, as of now, just hanging out playing Arena. Search for Luckweaver. So no major announcements next week planned for Weekly MTG. The week after that, we will be off. So what is that? September 1st, we will be off, followed by the Reality Fracture debut after show will be happening on September 8th. Replate stacker and the Saxville Baggins. And then, of course, we go into our normal sort of cadence with Reality Fracture. We'll do the 2 weeks of previews. We'll then do the opening show on time that time. And move through the progression there. Old Fat Pirate, Kanzini. Troop of Ponies. Scene card. I really like Troop of Ponies. I think that card is actually very playable. It's also a horse for your horse decks. Great Gilded Boat. Smog Wicked Worm. Uncover the Moon Letters. And Bard King of Dale in book cover form, followed by, Belladonna Took. That was actually the first one that we opened in that slot. Very cool. Wonder if you can finish a scene with this box. Doubt it. I don't think so. One, two, three, four, five. There have been some scenes. I mean, in the original Lord of the Rings, there was a 4-card scene that hypothetically you could finish inside a box, but it was 3 rares, 1 uncommon, so it was tough to finish. Again, why not? It was definitely the One Ring, and it was One Ring, Gollum, Frodo, Sam. So I can't remember, but that one you could hypothetically finish inside a single box. You know what? I didn't even notice this. I wasn't paying attention. This is a gold foil. You'll notice how rare these are. I think this is the only one we've gotten in these 2 boxes. I'll admit I stopped paying attention to that, but yeah, so we've only gotten 1 of those in these boxes. All right, back to the cards. Dalen, Weapon Master, the Misty Mountains, Cold. Another Lord of the Eagles, but this time non-foil. Last March of the Ents. Classic box topper. Rovanian Rampager and Extended. All right, no signature on that art card. All right. We're finishing these last 2 packs and then calling it. Might go slightly over 11 o'clock, but it's okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We gotta finish the box. We're here. 2, 3. This is also a slightly more realistic box compared to the first one that we opened. All right, Glamdring, Foehammer. Uncover the Moon Letters. Gigantic Big Bear. Last Light of Durin's Day in the Dragon Horde frame. And Killy the Resourceful. That one is definitely destined for my white-red equipment deck. Great switch to put the art cards in the collector boosters. I'll share that feedback. All right, last pack. Then we're going to go. I love that. Crack play booster boxes for fun. Just enjoy it. Still, they are. The play booster boxes are super fun. I do the collector boosters because I can. Because it's a bit rarer of an experience to get to open this much. So getting to live vicariously through it and see cool things like multiple One Rings get opened is a fun viewing experience. Glamdring and the Scene card. Bjorn the Fierce, Dragon Sword. Ending on Sting, Bilbo's Sword. All right, that is our time. Thank you for tuning in. Again, next week we'll be back. We will be playing Arena. I'm still trying to figure out if we're going to play Limited or Standard or some other format. It is currently Standard RCQ season, so there are a lot of people playing Standards in your local game stores. So we may check out some winning lists. We may play some Limited. We'll see how things develop between now and next week. After that, we're going to take the week off on September 1st, followed by the debut and after show of Reality Fracture. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.